to move on. If they turn 24 and they still need that housing assistance, then a voucher is made available to them because they've already been in the subsidized program for this time. And so we won't just have anybody moving out without, a safe place to land. The other project that was really important to the Housing Authority was to house families in the Bremerton School District also experiencing homelessness. So there's a building on Wheaton, it's called Wheaton Landing, and all the families that live there have been referred into the Housing Authority from the school district or from KCR through the Head Start program. So the idea there is that the families don't have to move. Even if the children were to grow up and leave, we wouldn't just kick people out, but we would offer other places for people to live. So the idea on this property is that we want all of our children in the school district to have a place to do their homework, to have a home. And so we're hoping to expand on this program. Right now, there's at any given time up to 250 students in our school district that are homeless. And we're hoping to house between 30 and 40 of them at Wheaton Landing, which is a small property, but because some children live in the same family, we can take more in. So then is that building full now? It's not full now. There's still 4 vacant units. Okay. So we do have people identified for all the units though.
A little hard to hear you back here.
Okay, I'll try to.
She's shy. She's
I'm
shy.
not shy. Is this a microphone? It's just recording. Okay,
That only works for the camera.
Okay, I'll try to speak up.
So how many are housed at Evergreen Bright Start?
There's 24. Actually, there's 25 now and a baby. We just had our first baby there.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good moment. And any other questions?
Do all of the programs that you have, do they have waiting lists right now?
Most of them have waiting lists, yeah.
Do you know about the length of time for the
It really depends because like Evergreen Bright Start, we take referrals in, so our referral partners keep the waiting list. Wheaton Landing, we don't have a waiting list, but we have everybody identified. We will have a waiting list. The school has already let us know that there's a lot of families that they'd like to refer in. I'm sorry. So some of our properties, particularly the ones for seniors, don't always have waiting lists, which we're always surprised by because there's a lot of need for the seniors, but most everything else has a waiting list.
How many families at Evergreen Bright Start?
At Evergreen Bright Start, we have 24 households.
And there's capacity for?
24. So we're full up at Evergreen Bright Start.
What age is seniors?
It depends on the program. So some of them are 55 and older, and some of them are 62 and older. So, yeah.
What was the cost to build Wheaton Landing?
The cost, so we didn't build it, we acquired that building, and I believe it sold for around $8 million.
And houses how many?
And houses 24 families.
So both of them have capacity for 24 families?
Yeah. And now we have another almost 600 units of other types of subsidized housing throughout the city. So
Say that again.
we have another almost 600 units. Yep, throughout the city. We also are committed to preserving affordable housing. So sometimes we'll look for a project that is not subsidized, and if it comes up for sale and it's kind of the right type of property that fits in with our portfolio, we will look for opportunities to buy it using debt, so it has to support debt. And the primary reason we would buy a property like that is to house what we call workforce housing, but we want to keep the rents low so that the cost of rents for those families doesn't go up as high as the rental market tends to go. So we do some of that. That's kind of, I think we've only got one, we only have one project like that right now, and we just bought it. So We probably will do more, but primarily we serve the very low income.
Those that you were just talking about, are not attached to vouchers, is that correct?
Typically, they are not attached to vouchers or public housing, so we do public housing as well. Sometimes there will be a voucher holder that lives there, whether they lived there before we owned it or after, but we don't actually put a subsidy on that unit. Is that better?
No, I
No?
don't think she needs that one. Marwan wanted me to walk around as people were asking questions.
Well,
She's got the microphone.
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful for people to be able to hear you, Jill.
Can you hear me better?
No,
No.
all right, it's not on. It's pushed to on.
It's just for the recording.
Okay, just for the recording.
All right,
Sorry.
not helpful.
So it's for the recording, so the recording can get the question.
The questions.
Right, but,
He wants the people asking questions to speak.
okay,
So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, which I think many of you will be interested in, is why Bremerton Housing Authority or how Bremerton Housing Authority works with our local shelters. So Joe might have to help me on this, but I'm going to kind of describe the system that we have. We have Salvation Army, and then we have 12 what I think of in my mind as boutique shelters. And so these shelters have very specific populations that they house and ways that you get into those shelters. So, for instance, Joe Stellamera's house
Continuous day emergency shelter,
for women
women and children.
So what that means is you can't just walk up and get a bed in that shelter. And these shelters fill up. I guess it was Joe that brought this to the attention of the Housing Authority, saying, hey, you put out you open your wait list for vouchers, you're only open for a week, people get onto that wait list, and then they get randomly selected into an order, and then we start pulling as vouchers are available. And so sometimes people will be on that wait list for so long, they never actually get a voucher. Some people will get a voucher, but all people going through the wait list struggle because we are not actually providing them housing navigation services. Some do get housed, some don't. So what would you guess would be the percentage of people who get a voucher that actually get housed off our wait list? It's higher than 5%, but it's low. It's low.
70%.
It's about 30%. So it's higher than you thought, but so you think about all the work that the staff does that go into getting these vouchers out, and 70% of the people that think they won the lottery when they get this voucher don't ever get housed because they're missing something. There's a challenge, there's a barrier in their life, and they can't get over it even with a voucher. So in this community, what we decided to do was to try an alternative method of getting a voucher for people in the most need that would also have the most impact on the ecosystem of shelters in Bremerton. So what we decided to do was called a referral program. We entered into agreements with all the local shelters and some service providers, and we said, we will take referrals, direct referrals from you. We will give them a voucher, and your agreement to the Housing Authority is that you will help them find a place to live and that you will help them stay housed. So, how many people do you think came in and got housed, percentage-wise, referred in and got housed? It was about 60%, so we doubled it. But when you look at the numbers, this is what is really astonishing. So think about this. We had 192 referrals. We had almost 100 people got housed. Most of them from shelters, but not all. Some were service providers. So what that did was not only house people directly out of the shelters, but then it freed up a shelter bed. And so it was a very successful program because when we pull somebody off a wait list for the same period of time, we pulled several names. Now, the 30% are the people that actually finish all their paperwork and start moving towards it. We have a whole bunch of people that never even get to that point, even when they get pulled off the wait list. So we, in the same time period that we were tracking this, we pulled over 800 people off of our wait list, and we housed 40 of them versus 192 referrals from the shelters and housing almost 100. So our numbers for this referral system were really high, and it was really important because as we look to more shelter options in Bremerton, the idea is not for people to stay in shelters, whether it's a low barrier shelter like the Salvation Army or the Stella Maris House. The idea is for people to move out of the shelters into permanent housing, and that's where the Housing Authority comes in. Our whole goal is permanent housing. Now, we need to build more of it. We don't have enough, but we also need to use our resources, and in this case, the voucher, in a way that makes the most sense for our community. So you won't find that program in a lot of communities because that's not how they're prioritizing their vouchers. But in this community, it was a really important thing for our shelters, and it worked. So we'll continue to do that. The struggle with the vouchers is that if you use too many, you could quickly use all the funds that was allocated to you. And when you do that, it puts you in this status called shortfall. And Bremerton Housing Authority went into that status last year, and it was not a bad thing. What it meant is that we spent all of our money and then some, and that then some is a very important number because when you go into shortfall, you don't quite know how much you're going to spend. And as long as you continue to follow the shortfall rules, HUD will give your community all of the money that you've spent. So I know it's a little bit complicated, but Bremerton Housing Authority went into shortfall status in April of last year, and it was a very sad time for our shelters because, I think some of Joe's staff were in tears because this program had been working so well, and we had to stop issuing vouchers for the entire year. But at the end of the year, us doing this and pushing us into this position ended up bringing about $4 million into this community that we would not have had if we not done this program. So I think of it as kind of a roller coaster. We get our highs and we get our lows. But as long as we just keep it going, which we do, we are effectively housing people. So
how many units would you say that you have again? I realize, the staffing and vouchers, so, but how many units in the city are?
So not very many, because we fill up quickly. We probably maybe have 10, maybe 20 vacancies right now. And most of them, there's people already ready to go into them.
And that's all the single units
That the Housing Authority owns. Yes. Now, vouchers is a different story. So in Bremerton, we have about 2,000 vouchers, and we currently have about 1,700 that are being utilized. Those other 300 are available to this community, but not until we get out of shortfall. So our goal will be to get out of shortfall, which we think we're close, and then we will start to ramp back up. 5 years ago, we only had utilized 1,300 vouchers in this community. And with all these efforts that the Housing Authority has put in over the past 4 to 5 years, we're now at 1,700. So that's 400 more people that we've housed.
Jill, got a question in the back here.
So are you going to restart accepting direct referrals from shelters once you're out of shortfall?
Yes. That's exactly right. Yep, that's the goal.
So what's the typical rent like at Wheaton for subsidy?
So that's for subsidy. So that's a good question. So we try to charge, so we're the landlords, right? So we do need rental income coming in to pay our bills. So we try to charge a rent that might be very similar to the market rate, and the person living there will pay 30% of their income, and then the subsidy, which is a federal program, will kick in the rest. I don't remember the exact amount of the rent there, but it's probably close to $1,800 to $2,000. But again, the the tenant is only paying 30% of their income. So if it's a zero income, they're paying zero, and the federal government is kicking in the rest.
Do you have enough housing for people to use their vouchers in Bremerton, or how does that ratio look right now?
Okay, so the question is, do we have enough housing available for people that have vouchers? And that is hard. That is a tricky. I don't have an exact number, but I can tell you this. Most people that get a voucher coming off the wait list, they take about 90 days to find a place. Our vouchers in Bremerton can go anywhere in Kitsap County or anywhere in Mason County. So we do have people that leave the Bremerton area and still are able to use their vouchers.
Anybody else have any questions? Just because we have 5 presenters.
I have one question. You may have already answered it because I walked in late, but when you get a voucher, when somebody receives a voucher, is there a time limit on how long they can have that voucher? Is there?
So not in our housing authority.
Okay.
So that's a housing authority local rule. So some housing authorities do set time limits. Usually it's only for certain people. Like a good example would be the young adults. People might set it for them thinking they should be able to move on and you can use the voucher somewhere else. In Bremerton, we don't set those rules. So once you have it until your income is at a level where you don't qualify for it. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to stay. So if anybody has questions, I'm here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jill Staton. And
You're
Jill
welcome.
will be here because at some point I'm hoping that we can do the thing I had originally planned, which is an open house where people get to walk around. I am going to prioritize the people with the longest drive. So our next speaker, is Paula Anderson from Safe Park. One of the things, this is another thing I've been talking about for years, is people need a safe place to park if they are living in their vehicle. City Council passed an ordinance many years ago letting any house of worship have people sleep in their cars in their parking lots. But so far, no one has taken advantage of it. We sent out another letter in 2025 saying, is there some holdup? We said it nicer, more formally, I promise. But like, what's the holdup? How can we help? Is there any, because council can only do but so much, right? Can we rewrite a regulation? 15 seconds, 20. And we have not heard back from a single house of worship. So in Pierce County, Safe Park is making it work. And here's Paula Anderson to tell you why.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me on this wonderful day. It was a beautiful drive over here, by the way. And this is the first time I've been in this area, so it was nice to go by and see the ships and everything. And we have a beautiful community here. I can tell you that safe parking is an alternative to some of the hard building shelters that you might have in the area or some that you don't have in the area. Safe parking is an alternative to shelter for people that maybe can't do congregate shelter. So somebody that has anxiety, somebody that has animals. How many of you guys have animals, right, at your house? You know they're your fur babies. A lot of people, that is their comfort. Can you imagine being homeless and having your animal with you and being told if you want to get out of the cold, you can't bring your animal? So if you have a vehicle, of course you're going to stay in the vehicle with your animal, but you can't take the animal inside. So having a place where you can stay in your vehicle, you can keep your belongings, you have a place that there's a porta potty, you have a place to wash your hands. Maybe there's people there that have a cook tent. You're able to heat up something in a microwave. You're able to get some resources like some case management, some dog food, things like that can help you as you start to reassess what other resources you can do. Those are the things that you can get in a safe parking partnership. We started ours with ARPA funding. Our first safe parking network started in 2020 during COVID because that was an alternative to trying to put all those people in the shelters that we had in East Pierce County, which only resided in Tacoma. We still have no hard brick and mortar shelters in East Pierce County. They're only in Tacoma. So safe parking offers that opportunity. Currently, our organization, Homeward Bound in Puyallup, we have 4 locations. One of them is in Gig Harbor, at a church in Gig Harbor. We don't give out the locations of the safe parking, the addresses, because we protect where our resources are. We don't want people just showing up and parking there because we have a system. We have a referral line because it's a partnership with the churches that we work with. And so how it works is we have an MOU, a memo of understanding with the churches or the organizations that we work with. One of the organizations that we work with happens to be a day center and a community center that has all kinds of resources. So it's not a church per se, but it is a community center, and it works there too. Pierce County actually changed and built an ordinance around safe parking that allows for community centers and for churches. In ours, we're funded through a grant with the county, and we have been for the last 5 years, now going on 6 years. In all of that time, with those safe parking sites, we've had only three police calls to all of those sites because it is a cooperative, well-run, safe place to put people. We have, in the MOU, we have an understanding with the churches because they have children there, that we will run background checks on the people that are there in their vehicles overnight. So we don't allow people with Class A felonies there or registered sex offenders. Those are people that cannot participate in the safe parking. Other people can. There's no drugs or alcohols allowed on the property. There may be people that have those addictions, but they are not allowed to use that on the property. And that's the understanding that the clients have. They sign a good neighbor agreement that says that they will follow those guidelines. And 9 times out of 10, they will do that. We have certain locations that are geared more towards families or elderly. And I will tell you that when you're 65 or 70 and you find yourself going homeless and you only have a vehicle, you don't want to go into one of those congregate shelters. You are more comfortable and feel safer in a vehicle where you have church people or people that are there during the day that will come to you and offer help and some life case management. The MOU also allows for volunteers from the churches or the other places that we contract with to come and build those relationships, slowly and try to get to know the people. And pretty soon you have a network and a support network for those people that are in those vehicles. We have had a lot of success getting people housed or talking to them and maybe reuniting families. That's a huge thing that happens in those safe parking networks. So we've had a woman, literally had a woman who was in a Toyota 4Runner. She had 12 children. They all lived in the Toyota 4Runner. So these are not just people that are singles or people that have alcohol or drug issues that are the ones that are out on the street. In safe parking, there are families, there are elderly, there are disabled. We had a gentleman who came in whose leg was so bad that within 3 weeks his leg was literally, he had to go into the hospital and was in there for 3 weeks. And we watched his dog. The other people in the safe parking took care of his dog while he went in and had the surgery that he needed to have. They become their own little community, and different churches will put different effort into it. Now, the way that we run ours is we pay the churches a certain amount of money per month to rent or utilize per parking space. That gives them some money to then pay one of their congregation members maybe to run security or pick up the move the garbage. We pay for the extra garbage, we pay for porta potties there, and then we also bring in a hand washing station, and that's how we make it palatable and nicer for the churches. And then we usually present at the churches. So it's not just a, hey, how would you like to have a bunch of people without homes come and sit in your parking lot overnight? See ya. We support them the whole way. We give them tools and we talk to them about things. Yes, sir.
What happens during the day? Do they have to leave during the day?
They can. It depends on the church and it depends on what their rules are. Some of the churches have daycares, at their location, so they prefer to have everybody leave during the day, and that's written right into whatever location they're at. And so the clients will abide by that and they'll go. We have a lot of our safe parkers do Uber during the day. That's how they make their money. So they will be driving and doing that work during the day. They just need a safe place to sleep until they can save up the money to get a place that they can rent. So there's a lot of advantages to having a safe place where you're not going to get roused by the police, or you're not going to be making people uncomfortable by sleeping in someone's neighborhood where they don't know you, right?
It's becoming even more important with the ramp up of the criminal offenses that are going on out there now.
Yeah.
So yes, safe parking, we're gonna need more.
Yeah, and it is the least expensive way to provide shelter there is out there, other than throwing somebody a tent and saying, go in the woods somewhere. Yes, sir.
Who does the background check?
We do.
Are you a nonprofit?
Yes.
Okay, you get funded by the city or county.
We get funded by the county. Yes, sir.
And then,
And it's Pierce County.
okay,
Yeah.
and then once someone back the check, do they get a decal or some kind of identifier that knows, so the people at the church know who they are when they go in?
They have what we do is we in the MOU they assign what we call a church coordinator. So that person is the person we deal with. So anytime they have an opening, we call that person, we say, hey, we've got somebody here, and we have a referral line that goes out to the county. So if somebody talks to somebody over at the rescue mission, or they call our line that's online, they say, I need a place to sleep, we automatically run them through there, find out who they are, do a background, do an intake form, which has all the information. And then when they're cleared, then we call that intake person at the church and we say, we're sending them over. We set a time, they meet them, then they go over all the rules for that location. And then they show them where they can park and then any of the things about that particular location. Sure.
How long is a typical contract with the church or the organization?
The four sites that we have now, we've had since COVID.
Why only churches?
It's not only church. We have one community center. Yeah. It just seems like the churches have been more responsive, and typically their parking lots are more open during the week. They don't have like customers every day.
Walmart or Lowe's or
Yeah.
theoretically.
Any entity theoretically could, but usually the Walmart or those usually have too many customers. Yeah.
Why do you not allow those into the program?
Class A felons.
Oh, okay.
Class A. Violent felons, we don't.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a wait list?
We do.
You do.
Yeah, we constantly have a wait list, but we run through it, and typically you're not on the wait list more than 4 to 5 days before we can move you through. So people will come in, we'll try to assess what their needs are. We have case managers that work those sites, and we try to get them moving along very quickly. The family site that we have, McKinney-Vento, if you're familiar with that through the schools, they will send the buses to that site to pick the kids up, make sure they get to school on time and all of that. but typically we have a wait. Yes. I'm sorry, I think she was first here.
Are you looking to expand here to Kitsap County?
We would need to get funding from Kitsap County to be able to do that, or I would be more than happy to help an organization or group set up here and tell them how to do it and show them how we did it here. We could not use our funding from the Pierce County to set it up here.
So then are you guys just here to send people out of Kitsap County that are homeless? Is that what's happening?
What's that?
Is if you're not here to open up a program like this for Kitsap, like in Bremerton, you're doing this for Pierce, so then you're asking for the people who are living in their cars here to go to Pierce County?
No, I'm talking about programs that work in Pierce County that maybe you guys could start here. I'm showing you and offering some suggestions for that. And if there is opportunity, if you know of churches, that because I do believe there is a church out here that is not affiliated with us that has started its own in Gig Harbor, I think, that has started its own safe parking, but I don't know for sure. If they don't do the same thing that we do, like I don't think they pay themselves for doing it, but I think their congregation has just gotten together to do it. But they probably have the same, because they're a nonprofit, they have the same ability to screen people and before they put them in. I don't know that they have the same, like a referral line and different things like that. It might be more word of mouth. And we have service providers that we work with and different resources and things like that. So, but we started small. You guys could do that here. You could start small and build it up. One of our churches only has 3 parking spots, but the others have more. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
How much does it cost per capita? What's the agency in Pierce County that funds you, and how many staff are on your nonprofit?
I don't know the per capita cost. Right? I don't know for sure what it costs because it is very, very inexpensive though. So it depends on the church. On average, it would cost, let's say the average church does 10 parking spaces. That would be, if you were to do the cost, probably about, if you had case management there from another agency, I would say about $2,500 per month. If you did it exactly the same way that we are doing, I would say about $2,500 a month. And the county, Pierce County, is the one that funds us through the contracts that we have for safe parking. Ryan Mello was a big proponent of that. He loved the idea of safe parking. It's one of the ways to end homelessness in Pierce County. And one of the things about safe parking is it does add to, like I said, it does add to having extra shelter without building big shelters, and affords the opportunity for people like couples. There's no shelters that I know of that are specific for couples where, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, how many couples are out there that are homeless, and people with animals and people with a lot of stuff in their vehicles and everything. It's for people who can't do the congregate shelter. So, yes.
Are you having conversations with your connection agencies?
Yeah, in Oregon they do that. In Oregon they have big programs like that. We haven't done that personally at our agency yet, but I know other agencies I think have talked, but I don't know for sure where that's going. there has to be some money involved, and I'm not sure. We had 2-year contracts this time, and so I think that came up after the contracts were signed.
I'm gonna jump in real quick and just say, I've talked to kids, I'm on the Kitsap Transit Board, and I've been talking to them about this since late 2025. They, because a lot of the average occupancy of the park and rides in the whole Kitsap Transit Shelter, about 24% occupancy, so some are like really empty, and they are pursuing it. They have deep concerns about liability. So happy to talk to you about that later. Not sorry to grab your time.
Sorry.
I was just wondering how many people you had in your program. I think it's like how many clients would you have? You said you had 4 sites?
We have 4 sites. That totals about 36 parking spaces. And I can't tell you at any given time how many people we have because a car can hold, well, 18, or 2, or 1. So, yeah. Just depends, yes.
Do you have RVs or RVs or target 2 spots or no one?
We have no RVs right now. We really worked on it last time the contracts came around and we just couldn't do it. Those are special. We're working on that. We're looking for campgrounds, RV parks, things like that to try and really mitigate that because it is a huge need. Huge need. Yeah. Did I see that again? Yes, sir. We have insurance, and anytime we have a program at the church, our insurance covers the church. Yep, we're fully insured. That's I forgot to mention. Okay. I have a few of these. If you guys want some of this, yeah. I only have about a dozen. I only have a dozen. You guys want to share those?
Yeah, you can have one. Does anyone else want one?
Guys, you can at least look at ours.
Same.
How assertive you are. You, I think you're here, please. I know, she's so bad.
Sure. But, yeah.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Why do you think the
Can I turn that on? Oh, the whole time?
So it wasn't on the whole time?
Can I stick it on?
We still got it now. I do have a loud voice.
To answer your question about why I think that they face the need in the city of Bremerton has not taken up this offer, I don't know.
has county asked those communities, because I know those communities are supporting other types of efforts that they're not.
We sent them a letter, in 2025 asking, what, in more polite formal language, and, what's a holdup, what's something the council could do. So, yeah, I can speculate, but really want an answer, I don't
We'll
know.
have to ask them.
Yeah.
To get back to you, what's the name again? The one that
Paula.
was just
Paula.
Paula. I'm
Laura
sorry.
Anderson.
Yeah, to toss that question back to you, like on a 1 to 5, how enthusiastic were those 4 sites when you approached them about being a spot? Were they like, yes, we've been waiting for you, or were they like, no, bribe us?
Well, you know what's really interesting is 2 of those sites, when we came to them, we were already bringing our shower trailers there because that was the other thing that we did. We did showers and laundry, and they were saying, bring it on, because they knew that the thing was really great. And so when we came up and we approached the other churches, they knew the need because they could see the people.
Yeah.
And rather than having people getting their cars busted in because other people were upset that there were these strange, I mean, if you have no place to put your garbage, where's your garbage gonna go, right? If you're not putting it in your car and you're parked on the street, it's there, right? if you have a receptacle for garbage, you're gonna put your garbage in the garbage, right? And so it was a solution to people so they wouldn't have to be afraid about these cars that were there in their neighborhood. And so that's how we pitched it. And when they heard that there were not police calls, and it's the God's honest truth. I mean, I don't even know if there were 3 police calls. I remember 2. I don't even remember if there were 3. But it was amazing to me how well they were absorbed into the community. And pretty soon people are bringing gas cards, for Christmas time. They were buying gas cards and helping people out. And when a car would break down or something, because they have to be operating to be a part of that program. And they would come down and they would help them, and it was really cool to see the community come in and help, and it was really nice. So
Okay. Yeah.
So when you said you sent a follow-up letter to the churches asking what the holdup was the initial contact by letter as well?
The initial contact was by ordinance.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
City council passed an ordinance, and I believe alerted all the houses of worship in city of Bremerton. But I don't know, that was like 2016, 2017, I was not on council. But council passed an ordinance because even back then, houselessness was a big deal.
And I guess I asked because I wonder, it's a lot harder to say no to somebody's face, and you can't ask questions to a letter, and I wonder if there's a thought to maybe go to specific churches or go to some of these places in person to ask them if they've received the letter, do they understand it or have questions. I wonder if that's something that would help take it to the next level.
Sounds like a job for Mayor Wheeler.
Right.
It sounds like a job for anyone.
I think that's a really good idea, and I'm gonna come around and give you my card so that we can talk about it more later. But right now, what I'm trying to do is make sure that the people who came up from Tacoma can get done so that maybe they can, get back and, they're gonna stick around.
Yes,
because
of
I have their
course.
car keys. But I don't want to take up their time, but I think that's a really interesting idea, and I will do
That
it.
live in this city, and we came out here to address our city council members about issues that are going on in Bremerton, not Tacoma. So if people are asking questions that directly relate to Bremerton, then you're bringing people out for safe parking, but what's going on with the shelter? That's what we want to know. What are we doing for the immediate needs of the people that are no longer being serviced by the Salvation Army right now? What are these things that are happening? And what are we doing? What is our city council, who represents the no-income and low-income people as well? Okay, the unhoused have a voice as well. And so what are we doing for them right now? Because I've been out on the block feeding these people, helping for years now. And I don't really see much of city council out there doing much of anything. And I think that the question that some of us came here to ask is, what is going on with the conflict of interest between working with KCR, but also being on the council?
As Leslie Dobbs was for years.
But it's a conflict of interest, especially when you make comments about.
I am happy, I do not want
to deter the homeless. Okay, Kids Out Resources, they are the people who work with the most vulnerable, with the homeless, with the people who have the most financial needs, right? And they need the most help. So with all due respect, when I hear my city council saying that we should turn the hose on these people, put the sprinklers on these people, never even actually apologize for that, and then run down the clock to avoid building a shelter because developers suddenly want land that they haven't wanted for years. We're here for real answers of how we're helping the unhoused in our community.
Thank you, Kimmy. I am happy to, sorry?
My name is not.
Well, you are.
So it's
and your name is?
Disrespectful.
Your name is?
To do that right now. You are making this about somebody that you want.
I'm so sorry that I
What your
I'm
name?
a completely different person.
I'm so sorry that I mistook you for someone else. I beg your pardon. I'm gonna, if people wanna stick around after 6:30 and ask me questions that have nothing to do with this thing now.
No, this does have to do with it.
Thank you.
I am calling for your resignation, either on the board or in the city council. It is a conflict of interest. We have several signatures of people that are asking for this. This is the place for that. They have closed down any public meetings to the public, so this is the place for that. I'm sorry, but this is the place for that.
We would really like to hear the coalition to talk to us, so, and we would.
Yes, and I would like to hear from my city council what they're doing to actually help the unhoused, who are not here right now to represent themselves because they're too busy outside trying to survive.
She's the first person she's going to run all the way.
Right.
They're trying to do to have, we're actually trying to build the shelter. So they're basically, they are great people.
Okay, and my questions were to her about
Absolutely.
what I asked.
Absolutely, and she's going to get you that time after the meeting's over.
Right, but I'm asking for that to be on public record after the meeting.
Okay, so we'll
This
get on
would be
the
said
record,
after the meeting.
but after the speakers are done, then it's going to open.
You guys go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so
And I'm appreciative of Anna Mockler hosting this so we can all learn about what's going on. So
wait. Thank you. I used to be a professor, so I'm big on education. So I'm gonna move along to Dion Jacobson, who runs the St. Vincent de Paul of Tacoma Pierce County, really long name that she is going to tell
Lots
you
of
about.
stuff, yeah.
Dion.
I am not a public speaker, so don't expect a Joe Crane or a Paula. But I'm the counterpart to Joe's awesome programs here in Kitsap County, and we do a lot of things the same, but we do a lot of things differently as well.
Can you talk a little louder?
I can do that.
I was trying to
closer to so they can see your programs.
Okay. So in Tacoma, we run 2 very busy day shelters. The format, I think, is a little different than the day shelters you have or have had here in Kitsap County. So we have 2 different sites, one that serves families with children, youth 24 and under, and people who are considered vulnerable in some way. And then we have another site that serves singles and couples. They're walk-in, drop-in centers. They're both open together 7 days a week. The idea behind the day shelter model is that we can have people come in their moment of need and get their need met the best that we can. So we got pictures of our caseworkers on here. We always have coffee and snacks. We've got case managers on site, and case management is not a requirement of the programs. So a lot of times when we see participants come in, we will have them come in 5 or 10 times before they're comfortable getting case management. Some of the biggest offerings that we have are connection to shelter, connection to treatment services, and what else, Phil? Basic needs supplies. Yep. So coordinated entry in Pierce County is a little different than it is in Kitsap County as well. Most providers that are funded by the county or the city are required to do coordinated entry on site, and we are one of those sites. So we are an access point for coordinated entry. People can come in and they can do their housing intake with us in the moment, in their time of need, and preferably 2 weeks before they become unhoused so that we have a chance to do a little bit of intervention. Some drama back there. Does anybody have any questions about our model?
So you're just a day shelter. What are your hours of operation?
That's a great question. So our family center has hygiene services for families. So we offer laundry services and showers on site anytime that families wish to access them. That place is open from 9:30 to 4:30, and that is a partnership with Catholic Community Services. So we have all these great offerings of Catholic Community Services, and then we run a day center that can connect people to our services or to Catholic Community Services programs as well. Our other site is actually right next to our thrift store, so much smaller than Joe's awesome operation. But we have a thrift store in Tacoma that has a second chance employment program that's pretty fantastic. And the resource center is off to the right of that.
And the follow-up question, do you offer food or shelter?
Well, that's the thing that gets people to come in, right?
Yeah.
So like we incentivize them by always having hot coffee and always having food that they can eat, making sure that we have their basic survival supplies. So hygiene items, tents and tarps are really big, blankets. When it's cold out, we want to make sure that people have the things that they need to stay warm. So we've got hot hands and gloves and hats and sleeping bags and everything that they need. We also operate that site next to the thrift store as an inclement weather shelter. So when it is extra cold or extra hot, we have extended hours. We're not open all night. This is only a daytime shelter. So we serve to fill the gap, right? Our participants can stay until nighttime shelters open, and then our goal is to make sure that they know where to go for the night and that we arrange transportation and get them there if they need to.
You do is it all drop in only, or do you schedule people somehow rotate through, or?
It is drop-in only.
Okay.
We went back and forth about which model we were going to use. Some of our other sites do have scheduled services. So Catholic Community Services has a great, schedule your coordinated entry, schedule your housing intake, and that is awesome. What we found is it doesn't always work for people. There's certain populations it works for, and there's certain populations it doesn't work for, right? Pros and cons. Like when people have a crisis, they can come to you in the moment. The cons are that sometimes they have to wait 2 hours to see a caseworker, right?
I was thinking in terms of like the hygiene facilities, so do
Oh, yeah.
laundry, all that type of.
It's all drop-in.
All drop-in.
Yep. So far, I wouldn't say that we have, for hygiene services, a terrible backup. We are very lucky that when 2 of our day centers in Tacoma closed at the end of July, we were able to step in and open back up one of those sites in partnership with Catholic Community Services. They already had 2 shower rooms and 3 washers and 3 dryers ready for us. All we had to do was staff it, right?
Can you tell me about what kind of setting this is in, where your day shelters are located?
Yes. So 2 different sites that serve 2 different populations. The settings are very different. The Community Resource Center that we opened in 2023, so we're not like long game. This is something that we've been doing for a long time, but we started out with 2 people. It was me and one other case manager. We were open 2 days a week, and we were in basically what equates to a double wide trailer next to the thrift store, right? What we found was that within a year, we were serving over 1,000 people a month. So clearly I hired on some awesome people. This is Phil, he's one of our case managers. We now have a staff of 10 between the 2 sites. We're serving around 2,000 people a month. So just imagine, like, we've got this double wide trailer, like, it's set up beautifully, by the way. See these pictures? Here's our beautiful space. But also, it wasn't enough. Like, people are bringing their dogs in. It's low barrier day shelter, right? Dogs and the kids didn't mesh together very well. So when we moved into that day shelter site for families, we said, no pets. This is the place for kids to be. And that is in the lower level of the Catholic Community Services Family Housing Network. So 2 very different vibes.
So I'm trying to get a kind of a sense of what kind of community it's in, or what kind of a physical space. Is it in a shopping center? Is it in a...
I would say the South Tacoma thrift store is located in more of an industrial area, right? So there's a lot of, like, we're across the street from a fish factory. There's a storage place on the other side of us. This isn't in people's maybe neighborhoods necessarily, but I don't think it's a model that wouldn't work in neighborhoods. I think we do have our participants agree to certain things when they access the space. So we have a code of conduct, right? In the code of conduct, it says you can't camp within 2 blocks of our space, or you can't get services here. It keeps people from staying where their services are and maybe making the community a little more leery about what we're offering. It also keeps us off the radar of people who are not fans of homeless services. The other space that's in the bottom of Catholic Community Services is a little bit easier, right? Locked doors, closed building, very well-known organization that has clearly positioned themselves in a side of town amongst a bunch of businesses where they're not going to have any repercussions for opening day center services there. Yes.
First of all, fabulous shirt.
Thanks.
And then second, where do you get your funding from? Do you get funding from the city or do you get funding from the county or a variety of sources?
Yeah, it actually just city and county at this point. So we opened with county funding, and that's what funded our first couple of staff. They funded us further. Pierce County funded us further to be able to hire on a couple more staff. And then the city really carried us through. So when we opened up the second site, it wasn't the city. Yeah. So we just started getting city funding within the last year. When we opened up the second site, we weren't positioned financially, and it was basically an ask, like, this is a huge service gap in the area. Now these families have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to shower. There's nowhere for them to do laundry safely. Can you meet us here and help us maintain this? And the city said yes. So both very big supporters of our programs. Yeah. Hi.
You said you opened in a trailer at first. Was there any permitting that the city was requiring? Was it?
Boy, that is so beyond me. I couldn't even tell you. I think because it was a space that was zoned for business already, we were pretty welcome to do whatever business in that space, right? So St. Vincent's itself is a nonprofit that was always offering social services, but we were doing it out of our store. And as the program grew from serving maybe 5 people a day to serving 150 people a day, we kind of had to change the scenery where we were having people meet us. And so we went from offering services through our store to offering services in a building that was right next to the store, but close enough that we were still St. Vincent de Paul and people still knew where to go. Yeah.
Have you considered, or have you ever talked with the city of Holmesville that's doing drop-in center now?
No.
Yeah, so there is something in DeKalb County that is something like this. So it's more of a drop-in, both meet your hiking needs and that help with your, and the support for the homeless, but it's also counseling at various times and case management.
Awesome.
And so forth.
This sounds very similar.
It's a little more, it's a little bit more cultural. You know, the difference between cultural and home of it. But they have a membership model, and so they sign people up at the beginning and talk to them about what they do in various areas of it.
Yeah.
And then keep track of people who do that, or people just drop it.
I'm very interested to learn more about that. I live in Kitsap County, so I'm like very dedicated to what happens here and the services that we have here. But I work in Pierce County, so yeah.
The human services person,
Hendrickson. Are you talking about Recovery Cafe?
Yeah, it has a recovery cafe, but it's also a bunch of offices that also have showers and they have therapists and
It's really a great concept.
Yeah, it is a great concept.
Awesome.
They also have a pretty thorough screening process, if I'm correct on that. Yeah.
We do not have that. We are an open door for anyone. You can walk in any state,
Yes, we are.
any frame of mind. You come on in, we're going to do the best we can to get you. We always say, like, we're here to help you survive until the next best thing, right?
That conversation between you guys.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to know more about that for sure. I will reach out, absolutely. Any other questions? Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I can go there.
So I love saying this word, so you gotta humor me. Our penultimate speaker, our next to the last speaker is the one, the only, Michelle Fleetwood. Our people's ways coordinated care.
Hi. Hi, everyone. So, that sounds like some really great things happening, right, you guys? Everyone's trying to do whatever they can with whatever it is that they have to help people.
So the
One's audience material.
Tracking device.
I know how to turn it on, but I mean off, but I don't know how to turn it on.
Hold it down for 3 seconds. Just hold it down for 3 seconds.
How's that?
The button on bottom.
Turn it up.
Yeah. Oh, good, got it, okay, okay.
Just put it on your lapel.
Okay, so my name is Michelle Fleetwood, and I've been around for about 20 years here in Kitsap County. And I started out with my little social justice journey, career with the YWCA a long time ago. And I was really passionate about helping people. A lot of people helped me reinvent myself, so I learned how to start to help others. And over the last couple decades, of course, things have changed dramatically, right, in our county. I can't speak on any other counties per se, but I can give perception from my point of view with what I've seen happening to my neighbors and to colleagues and other programs that I had worked with alongside of. 20 years of working for different social service agencies and having really fabulous mentors taught me a lot about self and a lot about being mindful, right, for others. And to learn how to be kind always, right, in every scenario, which it's not always easy. It's easier said than done. We always have to be mindful and we always have to be kind. I think one of the biggest solutions that will work collectively in our county is if all of us be kind. That's the solution in my perspective. No one gets anywhere by passing shame on others or on people or on programs. We don't have to understand everything that goes on amongst our community, but we can respect it and we can be mindful. And that's just some suggestions that were passed on to me. And when I was learning and having my days in the sun, when things didn't make sense and I would be like, "Merk, merk, merk," and they would just look at me and shake their head and say, "We're just going to continue to be kind." So with that being said, I don't know much, but I know along the lines of being in our community the last 20 years, I've seen the cost of living, the cost of rent go way super high. I've seen people's incomes get lower. I've seen people that used to have properties to rent suffer. I've seen people that used to rent not really prioritize renting any longer. And it's been a really weird thing post-COVID, especially. I've seen people that were typically higher functioning and self-sufficient not become so high functioning and self-sufficient anymore. And that they needed a type of supportive services. Do you all know a little about supportive services and different levels of that and what that entails? Well, case management and processing and getting to know people, building rapport, and kind of identifying what individual needs are. So they're not like typical, each person, not each two people are exactly the same. And so the supportive services can't be exactly the same, right? And I heard some really great programs that serve everyone, and I'm all for that. I serve everyone. If someone's got a need, come on.
Yes.
Background checks are great. And those are for people with children, right? Those are the programs that have high liabilities, and I'm all for that. But where I'm at serving people, there's limited children that come, and we serve all people. So times have changed, money's low, being a landlord isn't cool, and some people that could pay rent before will never ever be able to pay rent. And supportive housing and supportive services is what's working. So I started in 2017. I was part of a co-founding group that started Eagles Wings Coordinated Care. And we started with one unit with 6 ladies. And it turned into a whole triplex. And it served 16 in 1 year. And then in that year, we opened our first men's house. Then we seen that it was working. So I heard people mention coordinated entry. How many of you guys know what coordinated entry is? You know what it means? Let me explain. Each county has a coordinated entry that collects information into a system called HMIS, Homeless Management Input System. So it's kind of like the bean counter, right? Each county has a little bit of money from the state that they got to count where it goes and they got to see what outcomes come, right? You guys follow that a little bit? So then that information from coordinated entry goes to the bean counters that allocate the money and count and see where it's working, where it's not working, where they need to pay more attention to, and that changes every year, right? Coordinated entry is a way to assess people, to get tools in place to screen for vulnerability. You guys know what vulnerability means, right? Income, developmental, substance use, behavioral health issues, complex medical issues, all of those things place people in different levels of vulnerability, right? All of that is taken into consideration when all of these people in these areas that work in partnerships with coordinated entry come together to try to problem solve to help people. Well, it's a system and it's not always perfect and it doesn't work always for everyone, right? It really doesn't. But that's where the mindfulness comes in. And that's where the being kind comes in. And so we created spaces for people, community living, under the term of transitional living. Transitional means, in my definition, temporary, but there's really no other options. So transitional became a long-term safe place for people to be well enough to where we can think of where that next step will be when those next steps are available. And we learn that through coordinated entry and working through partnerships, right? You guys following me? So I now represent, and I'm the director of 23 homes, and we have 140 beds. We have a fourplex, and we have a shelter that we're hoping to open, and it's not to solve anybody's problems or replace anybody's ideas. It's something that Eagles Wings has been working on for a really long time, and we're just grateful that we're getting closer to it. We have foundations and donors that have supported us financially that other agencies hadn't had, and we are very grateful for that, and we're very mindful of those funds. And so since 2017, Eagles Wings owns and provides homes out of the 7 buildings that we own. Actually, one of them is a clubhouse, so we have programming. It's kind of like under the recovery cafe definition, but we have life skill classes. And we have a calendar that our people are bused to if they choose. Nothing is mandatory. We call it daily reflections, and it's for people in renewal. So the people that come into our homes, they have options to do things and have food and connect and community. What's really cool about Eagles Wings is that it started really itty bitty and then it kind of blew up. And so we have 22 staff. We have 15 to 20 volunteers, and we serve those 140 people. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Isn't that really cool? So that's an option. That's an option. And the reason why it worked is because there was a lot of people that just needed a space. So in each house, it would take about a year for the group to create its group. And it's like a family, non-blood related group of people that consider themselves family. And it sticks and stays, and it creates its own culture organically. And I had Joe Crane in a headlock for like 5 hours. Trapped.
He said 8. He said 8 hours.
It was 8, Tony. He'd seen every single house. We just smashed through it. I didn't feed him. He didn't have a water bottle. He was just like die hard. Thank you, Joe, for that. It meant a lot.
Thank you for taking me. It's a great window into the services that Eagles Wings provides here for our community and the diversity of programs for each of them. So each of them have a comfortable place. They're building out a micro community, if you will, based on personalities and of course gender and family dynamics that creates a space for them to thrive. So thank you.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. And I could have never done this by myself, right? I'm just a volunteer. I just show up every day. I'm there. When everything goes wrong, it's all my fault. So it's just really cool to watch the people we serve thrive. And it's being kind to each other, and it's respecting people's diversity. And it's actually the community that's caring for each other. We just oversee it. We keep them in the box. Little kittens that try to get out of the box, we just kind of help them stay in the box and keep them safe, right? Where they're learning to heal, get better. In my belief, I believe medical complexity issues are primary. People come inside, they have illnesses. I was able to work with some really awesome behavioral health nurses, and they created a medical respite program. And we are an actual behavioral health agency, and we have our license to do what we do. We are a provider, and we get paid through the managed care organizations. They're called insurance companies, big old fancy phrase, MCOs. So we're a provider in their network to serve people and help them recover. And so our goal is to eliminate the stressors on the emergency management systems. And you guys know what all that is, right? Ambulance, police department, jails, hospitals. The cool thing is that this new system that I've seen in our county is different, and there is things working. It just takes time. And I think the best way I could explain it, and I don't know much, and I'm looking I see a lot of my mentors. There's one right here that I'm recognizing, and Helen also. I've worked alongside these lovely ladies. I believe, in my belief, and I don't know much, that the axis has tilted and that we are all going in a better direction. People are starting to recognize how to treat the whole situation. It's complex medical issues, always, and then there's behavioral health, and then there's the substance use, the self-medicating. People are in different stages of crisis. We have a lot of military wives that their husbands have passed, and they have their pension and their retirement, and they don't want to give it up. And so they hold on to it, which, sometimes they don't qualify for certain things, or they've been displaced. There's vulnerable elders that have been paying a low cost rent that now, the place is up for sale. The original owners have moved on, passed on, they've sold it, they want to renovate. I mean, people are displaced and they're angry. They're not talking about the box wine that's the problem to their circumstance or adding to the circumstance or the untreated mental health. They're mad. People are mad. They want a home. When they go to a place like coordinated entry and special services, they want a solution. There is no solutions. There's people trying to figure it out what we can do at a big scale. And we all need to work together, and we all need to focus our energy on what's working and not bashing or pointing blame. Because what I learned 20 years ago, when I didn't understand something, it was easier for me to place blame on something than it was for me to understand something so horrific that I really didn't have any understanding about. And I had a lot of moments in the sun when I'd be like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah." And my mentors would be like, "Nope, it doesn't matter, right?" Dealing with difficult scenarios and difficult situations needs kindness and mindfulness and follow through and partnerships and support. And we're getting there. I mean, we started with one little unit, and now we have 140 beds. We have a clubhouse, we have a shelter, we have spaces for people to come inside and to stay out of the element and to finish being mad. Right? Some people are just going to be mad, and it's okay. It's not my place to say when they can't be upset about their current situation, but I can respect it, and I can be mindful, and I can pull out my little resources, and I can offer options. And if it works, great. People can try it, right? And if it doesn't, well, we'll see them again later.
I'd like to know is this something people move through, or do they come and stay for a long?
Well, I'm going to be realistic. Where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? So I just worked on a program with some partners about permanent supportive housing where people got their own unit. They got their own unit. I mean, high functioning people that you would think, man, you got the golden ticket, you got the silver platter, like your life is going to be good from here on out. And they failed. They failed to be responsible, and they're part of the tenancy. They didn't pay their portion of the rent. They didn't take their psychiatric meds. All of a sudden they're, thinking that the place is being contaminated by aliens, and it's just really, really difficult. Some of the things that you'd be surprised. A lot of people need supportive services always, and that's okay. There's no shame in that. A lot of people just need community. And what I want to get before I get off track real quick is that the cool thing about Eagles Wings is the state, the healthcare authority, has been training people for certifications on peer support. There is programs that's free to people that have overcame obstacles in their life and found some kind of form of stability. And we are a Department of Health agency, so we have 12 certified peers that are giving back. It's community that will stand up and help others. And it's others that have overcame that is going to reach out to the people that they're going to allow to help. Does that make sense? Like, people are helping people. It's community and connection. And that's what makes Eagles Wings community successful. Yes, questions?
How many beds do you have open now? And is anyone allowed in the community rooms? How many beds do you have open now?
Well, we have one house that we're working on this weekend, and that'll have 5 beds open, and it's re-entry for women. Re-entry means coming out of an institution. It doesn't matter which jail or prison.
So it's 5 beds for women.
Yeah, and then I think I have maybe 1 or 2, but not very many at all.
Is the community room open to the community or just the folks that are in your program?
Well, that house has its own living room because it's a big house. Each place has a common area, and not everybody is welcome, unfortunately. They have to go through their case management and their community and their resident aid. So each house has like the resident aid, we call it. It's not a position of power. It's just a person, a point of contact that observes and reports to keep everyone safe.
Yeah, so you mentioned you had a community house that is just for folks in the Eagles Wings or just for,
Oh, you mean the clubhouse? Our clubhouse, no, that's open to the public. Anyone's welcome. We just ask that nobody's under the influence when they come because there's people vulnerable that are working on recovery. And I brought a calendar. Anyone can take one. And there's a pen. There's a cool Eagles Wings pen. You can have one. And then there's a brochure. Now, I grabbed the wrong brochures because they kind of look alike. But there's information and contact information that you can ask me anything, anytime. Just ask for Michelle.
Yeah. And then I know that you guys just got a $200,000 grant, which I'm really super happy about. But are you familiar with the folks down on Martin Luther King Way that are do not have a place to go and there's medical emergencies?
Yeah.
Because I'm a resident of Bremerton. 42 years. I was born and raised here.
Yeah.
My husband and I are upper middle class, and we attend all the arts projects down in Bremerton, Quincy area. However, it's pretty unsafe because the situation that is down there. You have folks wandering the streets that are cold and hungry, and so I was just wondering. I just want to make sure that you don't have any beds available for any of those folks that are there that are suffering down there.
Believe it or not, I'm very familiar with the people down there, and some of those people, we can't house them all in our community living. There's a program that we have to be held accountable to. It's called Walker, Washington Alliance Quality Recovery Residences, and it was created on a law that's nationwide, National Alliance Recovery Residence. So in order for us to serve with people that have state resources or funding or institutions or therapeutic courts, you guys all following what all that means? So it's funding. We have to meet Walker accreditations. And so in January 2023, all recovery homes were held to a certain standard. So you guys all know Oxford Housing. They were grandfathered in. And they were accepted under this new law that said if you're going to function as a recovery residence, as a transitional setting and offer supportive services, you have to meet this criteria. And we were the first ones in our county to get it. We worked really hard. So each one of our houses, except for one right now, is accredited. And the reason why one house is not accredited is because there's people actively, still doing things. And we're trying to work on that.
Yeah, I appreciate everything that you do.
Yeah, there's some limitations to what we can do. Collectively, we did, and for the record, we did not receive any funds. We've been allocated for some. Okay. I don't know the actual status of that, but we are very grateful. I know that we just purchased the building for $1.2 million, the 10-bedroom house. We just took ownership of that in October. In October, just this last couple of weeks. It was October at another property. So we have a foundation that helps us. And so we're working on things. We have been working on things for a really long time. And so I want to take our bus. We have a bus, and we want to give out sandwiches with cute little notes in it. And we want to roll up to those areas, and we want to say, are you ready to come in and rest? Once we do open our doors in our wellness center. It's under shelter definition, but we want to make it as a place to be well and to feel safe. And so we want to offer some people. There's some people that just aren't going to be appropriate at that moment, but maybe they will be the next day. And we're going to target on the people that are left out there and just need some rest, right? Some long time rest. I'm talking like more than just overnight. I'm talking more than a week. Like, rest as long as you need. We do have partnerships with some medical providers that we can have them come and meet with people and get medications and help out and try to support people feeling better, because we believe that if people feel better, they're going to think better and we're going to do better, right? And then we're going to be a community that's going to want to give back. So what my hopes are and what I've seen in our own program is that people that have gotten better have started to give back. And that's a beautiful thing. Yes.
When you conclude that thought, Tony has been waiting really patiently.
Yes.
We only have 10 minutes.
No, I'm good. This is good. Tony can talk better than me anyways.
Okay. Hang on, are you going to be sticking around for a bit for people who might have questions?
Yes, and there's brochures and there's pens, and then there's our calendar for March, and all are welcome. Anytime.
I just got one question about
Yes,
the shelter. How many beds is that gonna be? Is it gonna be low barrier?
Well, we're asking for 50, and it's gonna be not a place for people to hang out and use. It's gonna be a safe place for people to rest and get well and to meet with our providers and to figure out where their best next step will be. Whether it's transitional living or it's a adult family home. That's another thing that's popping up a lot more. People don't know that there is a lot going on. There's a lot of good going on alongside the struggles. Well, it's kind of coordinated entry. We're all working together to see where people fit. Hi. How are you? Good to see you. Sorry. Yes. 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 Yes.
I'd like to please give a big hand to the monument patients, Tony, who is going to talk to you about coordinated entry.
No, I'm not. She just did. All right. So I'll talk about something else.
Talk about coordinated entry without using the phrase.
Oh my gosh.
Hi. Is the single provider of coordinated entry in all of Kitsap County. Executive Director of Kitsap Community Resources, Tony.
Hey, you guys. I'm not going to talk about coordinated entry, okay? But we are the nexus for Kitsap County, and we do provide coordinated entry, and part of that is the Housing Solutions Center. So everybody knows KCR, huh? Yes? Then what I really want to do is share some data. So this is, my team did an excellent job. This is Liz Revilla, put this together for me. And I just wanted to share how many people, only in Bremerton, not Kitsap County, the last few months. So people that walk through our door, this is at 1201 Park and 845. Where do I work? 8th Avenue, right? 8th Street. So I'll just start from October of last year, 1,028 walked through the door, and that we served. And November was 716, and then it's all an uptick. December 1,351, January 1,521, February 1,161. I don't have the data for March yet, but it's significant, especially given what has just happened with the Salvation Army closing. So even in my office, people are using the computers, they're coming in to get warm. They're hanging out outside. I mean, we see it all the time. It's not a pleasant situation. My team is out there working very hard, talking to folks, trying to understand needs, working closely with the other community partners on trying to develop a solution. This is really what I wanted to talk about. It's the collaboration that we all do. I don't think we've actually talked about that yet. Joe will probably talk about it later. But hey, Jill. So we work hard to collaborate together. I got to tell you a story. Actually, I'm going to tell a couple stories. There was a pretty large foundation that called me a couple of well, I was going to say a couple of days ago, maybe about 5 days ago. And you know what she said to me? They're closing down. And she said, you know, what I like about Kitsap County is you guys collaborate. You guys work together. You can't find that in King County, especially around housing and solutions around housing. This isn't easy. My staff works so hard, and all of these folks in this room work very, very hard to find a solution. And we're just trying to find the right solution. Sometimes we get it wrong, but there's one more statistic I wanted to share with you, and this is about our shelter referrals. Okay, so this is Bremerton. So basically, in December, 45 shelter referrals. 19 were Kitsap Rescue Mission, 9 was with St. Vincent de Paul, another 11 with George's House, 1 with the Salvation Army. And then in January, the statistics are kind of the same, but they decreased a little. 8 with Kitsap Rescue Mission, 8 with St. Vincent de Paul, 10 with George's House, Benedict House is there too, and some other shelters were 2. And YMCA was 1. Unfortunately, we just lost the Y, and it's a hit, you know, because of the fire. The YWCA, right? In fact, someone called just after the fire. I didn't realize it had happened because I was out of town. They said, we have 4 moms and 8 kids. What can we all do? So we all kind of got together and tried to figure out the solution, right? Because this is what we do. We work together. KCR doesn't work alone. So you know what we do at KCR: early learning and Head Start, weatherization, housing, and housing services. That includes hotel relief if we have the money, right? We do Meals on Wheels for seniors. Probably people don't know that. We have a full service kitchen downstairs, and we work very closely with Meals on Wheels. We do business education in Spanish and English, and it's pretty cool. We help folks get down payment assistance for homes. That program just finished. We probably financed $600,000. This was just this last year through the Department of Commerce. Work very closely with the Department of Commerce, and that's another thing I just wanted to talk about. We bring partners into Kitsap County. That's not just us, but that's the Department of Commerce, HUD, Department of Health. So if and when we ever get a shelter project up and running, we've already kind of put the seeds together, right? Everybody's looking to us, not just for leadership, but to really develop a model around this. So this includes the Department of Health. Department of Health, we were talking about coordinated entry. They chose 2 coordinated entry sites around Washington State. One of them is Whatcom County with Opportunity Council and someone else, and then the other one was us. And the reason why they chose KCR is because we work so tightly with the community and with the people that we collaborate with. It's a big deal. Yeah. So Department of Health has said, okay, this particular project is a test. So for the next 3 years, we're going to develop a model, right? And so what this model is going to do is try to figure out healthcare and mental health care around housing, especially with the unhoused population. Okay, so they're going to fund it. We're going to figure it out with our partners and with the MCOs, the managed care organizations, the healthcare organizations, and then try to put it into play around Washington State. We got 3 years to do that. So, so we pitched the shelter, and they said, okay, you guys get this up and running. We can give you 8 to 10 beds and pay for that for the next 3 years. Okay, great. Now we're just kind of piecemealing this thing together and trying to figure out what type of model we can have. With the help of our legislatures and city councils, hopefully we can put this together. Anyway, none of this work is easy, and sometimes we don't agree on everything. But I have to tell you that together we are working together at trying to develop a solution. I just appreciate being here and advocating for my team. And, everybody can pick up the phone and call me when they want. You guys know that. I appreciate seeing some of the people I haven't seen in quite a while. So if you have any questions for me, I came prepared to talk about coordinated entry, but I'd rather talk about what we can all do together. Yes, sir.
So I only know what I read in the paper, and
that would be the Wall Street Journal?
Yeah. Is that about the property that's on Sheridan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's going on there? What can you tell us? We haven't maybe read in the paper. Is it going to happen? We're going to build there?
Well, I think we're...
What's going on with the property on Sheridan?
Yeah.
Should we all talk about this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Well, we know that. We know that. And we came prepared for that. Okay.
So
what's going on at Sheridan? And that's why they came.
So the Sheridan site, I'll speak as loud as I can. So the Sheridan site is owned by the Bremerton Housing Authority. We bought it last November.
You can hold it.
Okay. And we bought it looking for a site to partner with 3 other organizations and the city to build the hybrid shelter model. That was our intention. It took us a very long time to find a site. We found several sites that we tried to get, but the Sheridan site was the one that we finally were able to purchase. And that purchase took almost a year to negotiate the terms. So now the site belongs to us. We own it. That's called site control in our world. But I think many of you, if not all of you, know that there has been some pushback on the hybrid model. So we are the Bremerton Housing Authority. We are not going to be in conflict with our city or our city council, and we are going to move forward with what we think that we can. So right now, we're going to move forward with the tiny village part of the hybrid shelter, and if you need me to explain more about that model, we can do that, but we're moving forward at this point with that. The next step to that is we need a zoning code change, so that some of the properties in Bremerton, you can build a tiny village under the encampment zoning codes. And in some parts of our city, those encampments can go for up to 3 years. And in some parts of our city, those encampments can only go for up to 6 months. At the Sheridan site, the current zoning is only up to 6 months. So you can imagine that our funders would not want us to build a tiny village at the cost that it will take and only have it for 6 months. So our first step is going to the city to ask for this zoning code change. And once we start down that road, if we feel like we have support, that'll all go through the public process. We will then begin the development and the permitting process.
Does that zoning thing change at all with that new legislation that just?
HB 2266.
Thank you, sir.
So that is a question for the city attorney, but I will say from what I know is I think it's helpful, but I don't know legally what, the result of that's going to be.
Why pick the site if the zoning was already not correct?
So there was a lot of sites that we looked at that the zoning wasn't correct, and there's not a lot of sites available to do this. So we had another site previously that also had this issue, and we were able to get the zoning changed. So we didn't believe that that was a barrier that we could not overcome. And we actually are looking for a zoning code that is wider than just that property, so that if other organizations want to do similar things, that the city allows that in more than just that site.
One in the back first.
Was the 1.1 million allocated for the hybrid shelter specifically for the hybrid model? Or does that money go away? I read that in the paper that it went back to the city, but isn't it specifically allocated for that hybrid shelter?
Yes, we have an agreement with our city, basically between the city and the Bremerton Housing Authority, to use that money for a hybrid shelter. So if you saw the article or the community letter on the Bremerton Housing Authority website, we did say we can't do the hybrid model without having the city firmly behind us. And so they need to make a decision on that money, if they want to use it to continue on with the tiny village, or if they want to do something else. So that would be the city's decision.
But there is a countdown on those funds. So we're up against the clock.
Yes. End of December. Yes.
End of this
End of the year. Right.
Yeah.
So if there's no zoning code change prior to the end of the year, then that money goes where?
So that's a city question, but the zoning code change that we did the last time did not take that long.
How long is not that long?
It was under 4 months, I believe.
So just to be clear, we have plans in place. We have designs in place. We've talked to our partners. Things have moved along, although it took us a long time to get there.
It's true. We're not. So when you buy a piece of property and you develop it, a lot goes into that. A lot of studies. You have a development plan. All that work has been happening. So we're not just waiting for the zoning code change. We're doing a lot of pre-development work. And as Tony said, we've looked at several different models for the tiny village. We know exactly how long the vendors will take to get us the tiny villages. So we feel like this could be done in quick order, and we could use the city's money along with the other money that we have and get it done in time.
What kind of zoning do you need?
I'm sorry?
What kind of zoning changes are you looking for?
For the zoning code change for the tiny village portion is to have it be a site where you can have an encampment for up to 3 years.
We literally live like across the street, single family housing. And you're trying to take that from us?
So I'm going.
The problem is already horrible as it is. It's unsafe. And you're gonna put it across the street from us?
Like I literally took a picture from my dining room directly down there.
Yeah. I understand that there's,
So you're just taking our houses from under us, changing everything.
well,
You're creating more homeless, right?
this is our plan that we would like to do. But we're not going to do it without community outreach either. And we do have a plan for that. And we will come and talk with you all. And I do want to say, there's no perfect solution here. There is none. We have searched for it. There is none, but.
And once you start going down the road of, because we've identified a model that works. So here's the thing, is then at any given point throughout the city, as soon as an available parcel is found, there's always going to be adjacent neighbors that are going to be nearby. That's not something that we search out for against somebody personally. We just know as soon as it's identified, there is going to be a surrounding area where it directly impacts. That's why the model is so important to understand, because unmanaged for the city, which is happening right now, everyone in this room can agree that right now, the situation for this population right now is unmanaged.
Yes.
So do we want an unmanaged situation for our city?
Who took care of the?
Or we're going to find a managed place for our city, and it just happens to fall within 3 or 4 adjacent parcels that we will work with our neighbors when we establish. You have to understand, we didn't just go through and go, I don't even know your names personally. I didn't go find your names and go, oh, we're going to go find this and put it right next to you. We were finding a model that we could apply for our whole city.
Now you're changing zoning laws and.
I wouldn't have bought a
What
house there.
happened Midway Inn? I'm not done. What happened with the Midway Inn? That was a total fail. And it ended up in our backyard, in our alley. It was a mess. Terrible.
Everyone deserves a shelter and a safe space. Everybody deserves that.
I will.
Buying land doesn't make you deserve it more than somebody who doesn't have it.
That has nothing to do with it. It's
Yeah.
safety.
Yeah.
So lock your door for everyone.
Well,
We
can't afford.
Let's answer some more questions.
What is exactly your hybrid? So when I pull up, what am I looking at when I see your model shelters? Is there air conditioning? Is there water? Is there a toilet in there? Or is it an outhouse somewhere?
No.
I want to know, like, paint a picture for me of what I'm going to see.
So when we do the community outreach, which will be very soon, we will bring pictures. If you want to see pictures of the design that we brought to the city council at the city council September meeting, that was shown, and those are there, but we will bring all of that so that you can see what it would look like.
It's going to be the same design?
It's going to be different, but we have design in our minds. We want this to look similar to what we had brought to the city council, but it will be different because it's not the same model that we showed at that time.
So the first model that I saw when I became familiar with the plan had 3 partners in it. And that was the housing authority, and that was the city, and that was the county. So where is the county in this?
So it's actually more than that. It's city, the county, St. Vincent de Paul, KCR, and Kitsap Mental Health Services, and the Housing Authority.
Right.
But I hear what you're saying. So the county is a funder. So they're funding both from the side of the capital, which is the development, and the side of the operations.
And part of the operations as well.
Yes.
I just want to address the issue of safety. I've been involved with the community in this arena for about 4 years now. There was a lot of pushback for the Pacific Building
Yeah.
down in Port Orchard for the same reason. People are concerned about safety, increased police activity, etc. That building has been open, up and running, and as Joe said, it's managed. So the problem is being managed, and it's much safer now than.
Yes.
In fact, the neighbors volunteer.
And getting involved and helping design will keep it safe.
And building off of that, I can't stress enough, we wouldn't spend all this time, energy, and resources to relocate anything you're seeing downtown anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's not about just relocating and herding people around like cattle. We've established a model that addresses this and it helps for upward mobility for these folks.
Yeah.
So we're not relocating anybody,
Amen.
right? We're building something, and a lot of these questions, when you ask, oh, like, you're gonna put an emergency shelter in my backyard, it comes and rooted out of fear because you don't know what's actually gonna get built.
Yeah.
And what a managed service looks like for readily upward mobility for these folks.
You sound angry, and that's really not where we want to be at all, I don't think. It's fair for community members and neighbors who have not seen your plan, who have not heard your plan, and who have experienced unsafe conditions from the Midway in Francis, and they have seen the responses on 6th Street going on. So they have a lot of unanswered questions, so don't be angry at them.
No,
I'm not angry at any one person. It's a growing frustration of addressing this. I've done no less than 12. This is 13 now of these. When they say, "Oh, we haven't talked about the shelter," I do these ad nauseum now.
To who?
Our community. Go ahead.
Not to the neighborhood.
We obviously have diversity of perspectives here in the room, but what the citizens, the community that is so closely located next to the proposed Sheraton site would request is that a meeting just with.
Great. Yes, ma'am.
We are the most effective, but just a minute. We want it not with your specially hired consultant. We want it
Yes, ma'am.
with you, and we want it by invitation to just the community that is adjacent to the proposed shelter, so that we can ask mostly our questions about safety, how safety concerns are going to be addressed. We as a community in this area are not unsympathetic at all to the unhoused, and we'd like to be a part of the solution.
Okay.
And we'd like to be involved at the ground level. So that's what we're asking for. And Joe, you said you had 15 of these. How many of these have you had with the people adjacent to the property, the Sheraton property?
We've done none for those that are adjacent.
None. And yet we are the most concerned and the most affected.
Can I just say one thing? So until last November, we weren't sure we were going to buy the property. And so, but as to your request, 100% yes, we will do that. We will do it with us. We have hired consultants to help us do community outreach, so we do it correctly. But your meeting, I will be there. These guys will be there. Monica will be there to answer your question.
We only want the East Bremerton residents. We don't want.
That's
yes.
yes.
And it will be by invitation only.
How about I have you guys' information?
Yes, you do.
I will reach out to you, and then how about we'll work together on that invitation list, okay?
So is this model, or will you, and yes, we'll talk about this later too, how will you guarantee you will not, once it's rezoned, make it a low barrier shelter, how will you require, like, I would say Eagles Wings and these other locations are asking, and I was gonna ask you about your data, you know, are these people, you know, that you count, that you know, that have ID, that, or are they the people, are you counting these people each time they come to you?
No, like the shelter referrals, just like Michelle was.
So they need ID, or they need to be.
They go into the system, HMIS, and that is counted once.
And so then this shelter, which was the low barrier, which was, you know, a very frightening situation I will speak for me, as far as dealing with children and the senior housing and senior community. But what will you do to make sure this doesn't become that type of shelter?
I'd say, can we handle that when we do the outreach to you specifically? Because we know that it's a concern, and but we know that we hope that we could resolve that concern.
So meaning you would still work towards letting it be a low barrier?
No,
low barrier.
What I said was, we'd like to talk to you guys, okay?
Rima? I have two questions. First is, how will you get operational funding if the city can't grant your request for that? And then my second question is, if we support the shelter, what do you need from all of the people in this room? What can we do to help move this forward?
Yeah, I'm going to answer the funding one, and then I'll turn over to him. So we are still very hopeful that the city will be looking at their budget. This isn't just us. It's not just your issue. This is the city's issue, and the city needs to be behind it. And the county, 100%. The county already has the shelter bed rates that will go into this shelter. But I'm with you, like 100%. I'm hopeful that the city and the city council will look at their budget and will want to take this on. But the city can't take it on by themselves either, right? There's not enough money for them to do it on their own. They're a piece of this, and we'll work with them. The county will have a piece of this, and we'll work with them.
Department of Health. We try to leverage, not just leverage relationships, but leverage funding. Okay, and everybody knows it.
And there's also in our county, there's the SIA funding, which is it's tied to our sales tax, and that money every year gets put out for people to apply for. So that there's money that comes every year that will have to be applied for. So we can't sit here and say we have money for the next 5 years, but what we can say is we know sources will be coming up, budgets will be coming up, and we will be front and center. And then I'll let you answer the question of what do we need.
Great. What we need? What was the second? What can we be helpful to getting the shelter? You know.
More, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, more will come, but coming to these and asking questions, getting more information, helping to be ambassadors of having those local conversations in our community at the coffee shop when people get a little scared about either a model that they perceive or a model they know somewhere else in the world or the United States that hasn't worked, that we talk about it together. Yes. And we can get more information and more education about what does the hybrid model offer and how does it work as an actual viable solution.
Yeah. So the original plan that council approved in January 2024 had a congregate shelter of 40 to 50 people and 40 pallet shelters. Your most recent design has a congregate shelter for 80 people and I believe 40 pallet shelters as well. With the tiny house, is there going to be a low barrier congregate shelter that will replace the only low barrier congregate shelter in all of Kitsap County?
Remember, I'll just say the first part. Remember, we agreed with the city council that maybe the project should be done in phases, and that's what we were striving to do, right? So that's the first answer to that question.
Well, and I will say at the city council study session, the pushback was very evident. And so we are scaling back the project to doing something that we are very hopeful that the city council and the community are more supportive of. And we felt that that was the tiny village, and talked with the city council president. She, obviously she can't speak for the whole city council, but she offered me some words of support and encouragement to get those zoning code changes in and go through the public process. So that's the first step. I don't know what the city council is going to do. You would know more than me. I only know
what one city council is gonna do.
but I know what we are trying to move forward. So that's it. We're trying to move forward the best that we can with something.
Thank you.
How many houses are there?
We're still under development in that as well. So I don't have an exact number, but we're still under development. Obviously, we want to talk with the neighborhood too.
Yeah, sorry, I came in late. I have a hearing deficit, so it's hard for me to hear. But I'm a volunteer at Coffee Oasis, so I have a little bit of background here. However, I do not represent them. So just to say that I volunteer.
You can speak into that.
Okay, thanks. Anyway, so my question is, having lived on Bainbridge for 30 years, okay, so here I have two questions. This one. So I can tell you these communities are going to send their clients, they're going to bus them down here on Kitsap Transit. Are they going to pitch in? So, I mean, this is something that should be addressed with Bainbridge, Kingston, Hallsville. They need to collaborate with you folks. They do not have a low barrier shelter.
So we talk with the county.
Yeah.
And we talk with the county commissioners.
Yeah.
And I know that the city and the county also meet to talk about this very issue.
Yeah.
I'll say just one more thing to this.
So that means money.
I'll say one thing to
They
this.
gotta bring budget money.
It's not one size doesn't fit all, and each municipality, each jurisdiction, maybe one type of shelter isn't the right way to do it. The KRM model over at the Pacific Building, man, it's really worked out. It's a beautiful model, and people have come around the state to see it and hopefully try to replicate it. Right? I know Possible is doing something a little different with the Nordic Village, right? And everybody's trying to think outside of the box. What's best? What's going to be best for their own community?
Yeah.
I just am looking for a point of clarification. The conversation kind of started about the tiny village specifically, and then you two joined the conversation. Are we still talking about just the tiny village, or are we talking about plans to build a congregate shelter, or is that the same project? I'm just confused as to what exactly each person's speaking to.
It's probably more about timing, but go ahead.
Yeah, right now we're talking about the tiny
Okay,
village.
does that include a congregate shelter area, or that's specifically just tiny?
What we are going in for the zoning code right now is just for the tiny village.
Okay.
But I will say this, we strongly believe in the hybrid shelter model.
No, I understand. I
Yeah,
just wanted
okay.
to know exactly what we were talking
Yeah.
In ties to that, I just wanted to know what is being done right now for the unhoused who just lost all of their, they have no access to any services.
Yeah.
Right now with Salvation Army, they only have a drop-in shelter at night. So these people, there are mothers out here walking around with their toddlers with nowhere to go for the entire day. They are cold, they're tired, they're frustrated. And people want safety, and I understand that. I used to be part of the unhoused community. But think about how many of these unhoused people are unsafe too, because they don't have a shelter to go and lock themselves away into. So my big concern is, what are we doing for the people right now until we're figuring out this shelter that should have been figured out? What are we doing for them right now?
We have that same question.
Yeah.
That's our question too. That's our concern. This is why we are moving forward with whatever we can, as not with the plan we had, but with what we can, because that's our question. We're concerned. We do this every day. It's right across the street from where I
I
work.
guess my question was more towards city council than, sorry.
That's okay.
So I have a question and I also have a statement to that. One of the things that we can do right now is to fill the beds that are available, right? Because there's no reason the beds should go unavailable. So right now, we at least have, how many does Stella Maris have as far as the last count? Because I know George's house had 5.
29 or 30. We don't have any right now. I don't
Yeah.
think we're full.
I know the Pacific Building had at least 12
Mhm.
open. So there's no reason that coordinated entry can't put a little pushback to the shelters.
We do referrals when they come.
Not just referrals, but pushback. We gotta fill those beds.
We,
There's no
we
reason
do,
for
we
it.
work very closely with the Pacific Building,
Mhm.
okay, with KRM.
The Pacific Building doesn't go over 75% based on our last HSC meeting. My question is that if you're gonna move away from the hybrid shelter model into the potential tiny home model, barring approval from the neighbors and the zoning change, does the $1.1 million that's there, can it be used for the tiny home model? Or is it allocated specifically for shelter usage?
My understanding is it can be used for any type of shelter.
Okay.
But that is really, as this, I'm going to say, the city attorney may feel differently. I don't know. I know that my agreement, the Housing Authority's agreement, was for the hybrid model, and we're only pursuing the tiny village piece of that. I still believe it can be, but I will have to leave it to her. And I will ask that question. Okay.
Absolutely, because that's a lot of money to be unknown with a very short lifespan.
I agree.
That's right.
It's been a concern.
That's really my question is 1.1, can it be legally reallocated? The way that it's written now, it doesn't quite look at it, but that, I've been watching the city council meetings to see if we can get answers and not really prioritize their talk about it. But also, they're really quick to rezone for the wealthy developers that come in here and rezone and raise up our rents where my family members can't even afford to live here anymore. So the folks that are in your neighborhood, my family is living with other family members and are one step away from being on the streets on this unmanaged situation. So it's ridiculous. The zoning situation, that is ridiculous. And I would really like to have a managed situation and a transitional housing so we don't have these people out on the streets. And the city asked you guys for help 2 years ago after they denied the Oyster Bay. And we know, Denise, you talking here, I've seen the FOIA request about you.
Not Denise.
But Denise Gray, our city council, you look like her, our city council member, she wants it to, because, and Annapolis put it too, wherever she is, wants that water view property for high-end developers to come in here and raise our rents, our median rents, so people that are living here can't afford to live here anymore. That's what's happening. It's an unmanaged situation, and our city council is not prioritizing it, and the mayor and the city council are pointing at fingers at each other, and it's their job. They asked you guys to come in here and do this. They asked you guys, and now they have no solution.
Yeah.
They laugh and mock people. She did it today, and she wants to turn sprinklers on people. I see it all. So get involved. If you want to know, go and feed those people that you're so scared of. Go feed them. They're harmless. I'm telling you, they can't even take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Go feed them. Go feed them. They're hungry and they're cold.
Okay, I'd say thank you, and there's gonna be more
Thank you.
outreach.
Thank you to you guys. You guys are the real ones that are actually doing it.
Have we
It's not.
how the people in the tiny village are gonna be
Yes,
safe?
the city is the problem.
Including the
And
city
sorry you
council.
look like Denise.
Wow, wow. What is that called? A dog? I went forward to the meeting. I'm a doppelganger. Right.
Didn't want to make it weird.
Great hair.
I hope my face didn't hit myself today. They said I was getting angry.
I didn't know that. You would not be happy to know that somebody thinks I look like that.
This is not, yeah. We're trying to.
And I understand.
This is a big deal.
Yeah.
Safe parking is a lady that came out and served with us. So I think
That's my tour. This is rejecting. I mean, I've already got.
I love you.
I too, Dr. That is hopefully the yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, it's my dog. What's going on? Yeah. So have you guys submitted a permit yet, or
Rezoning change, yes, but not wasting anybody's time and money on permits yet. Yeah, so we're like, first things first.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we'll work with you.
Yeah. We were happy to, it was slated, and it's Denise Spray's area. So as things started getting choppy, she's like, oh, we're not gonna do that now. No, I'm just saying as far as the outreach. Sure. Because it's not for lack of intent, we want to do the outreach.
Yeah, so anyway, we've got a whole.
You're really between a rock and a hard
Right.
place. Yeah, we want to do that.
We're good. You know, and we didn't, they're not. No, we're all bored. They made it, you know, so. I'm here for 4 years. You're from. They're from. And also I'm on the.
And also I live
I have a, you know, children here. It's easy to say for the neighborhood. It's not hard when it wasn't anything.
There's always gonna have somebody's neighborhood that has to go to. It's about not relocating when you're seeing downtown.
that was she had like this built all the houses.
Well, you know, the children will be locked up at school. And so when the people from the low barrier housing are all on sharing, the children will be safe. They'll be locked up.
They're out there now.
No.
Hi, you did great.
I mean, not like when you're gonna bring them all to us.
Tough questions tonight, but I think.
I can't wait to presenting to you because what a managed program looks like. It'll be fewer than what you see.
It's okay. I mean, it's, you know, it's gonna be hard. Like, I don't have the answer. And you guys have a, it's not your welcome. And you guys have a.
Decide where you're gonna go. Wait,
You're talking to a person
that direction. The things that I was like,
Oh, yeah.
really excited.
There's been models.
My first absolutely recommendation is gonna be amplified sound.
More recreation buildings that
We have a sweet little portable microphone.
ever. And no more
We can take everywhere.
So
You know, Eagle's Wings is right there. St. Vincent de Paul, where we do our clothing vouchers, is just up the street. Everybody just did Wheaton Landing right there next to the school. That's all part of the ecosystem. The people we serve and the trips are.
And just making sure
Yeah.
They are.
people, I think a lot.
So I think it's,
Hard to sound, but like.
it's, we don't own the parking lot.
If
If I did, I would invite people in there.
Anyway.
Other than that,
Yeah, thank you for organizing that.
Jill will.
Nice to see you, Joe. Thanks for the answer. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're just at the mercy of
Oh my God.
participatory city officials.
Yeah.
And people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
And it's funny to read the consent articles. I'm like, there's holes here. There are missing details.
60% of the time.
And I
So
want the whole
But
picture.
it's also
Yeah, no, when you read,
you're all in a long-term relationship.
they haven't got it
And
right
so we
yet.
have to.
Yeah.
So they've done like 4
Yes.
recently.
And I read all of
And I read them, I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And then he's like, it's like, oh, they've axed
Being on a
the
boat,
hybrid model in the most recent
Yeah,
one.
that's what I thought.
being together is like.
Where?
I didn't know that was still on the table.
Wait, it is still on the
Okay.
table.
Only like.
So it's how we're rolling it out.
And then you still need them to help you.
So as I've explained this analogy with my,
Excellent lesson.
excuse me, colleagues.
That's so funny. I had that exact
We-
same lesson with my husband.
This is our,
we
we put this model together. Bye, Dion.
And it was just an old camper boat.
Yeah, nice meeting you too.
Took it on vacation
Right.
for 2 weeks.
So we believe it. It's holistic. It's
exactly
going
as
to
you
allow
say.
for
We-
mobility. I know it will.
That man as trying to get your boat into dock. Or in the next instant, be
And so right now, because of the city, we're basically having to deliver this big breach. So we didn't want to do the tiny homes first. We would want to do a congregate, right? So we wanted to do congregate first, and then we would go into a transitional model as that flexibility for allowing for helpful with upward mobility. But now we have to do the tiny homes. How people live there.
I saw the long list coming out this pre.
Oh yeah, 4 pages.
Do you think that's realistic?
No, we can't. When they give us those, that's why we want to get out of the Harrison Heights
Clearly, you've never had.
deal. Are you talking about the list of improvements for the parcel once we get building on it?
For the Sheridan.
On the Sheridan location?
Yeah.
All right, Tony,
I didn't read them all.
You're a
I didn't read
resident
all
of
of them.
Greens, guys?
But that was their way of.
Anna's my
You think so?
Oh, that's great. Financially,
Another one of my.
making a barrier for us, because we look at that and they're like,
Okay.
we didn't anticipate
Familiar
that's much
faces.
What's your name again?
Now we want, we do
So
want
she's
street
working with
We
us
want, you
on
know,
the
landscaping, we want it to look
Oh,
nice, we
great.
want good lighting for
Undercover.
security and safety and all of that. But we
Yeah,
want to
barely
do those
recognized.
standards throughout that entire 5-acre parcel.
Yeah.
But that's what
Common
that
bridges. So
Harrison
you'll be
Heights
meeting,
standards
you'll be getting to know
pushes
Joe
on
and Tony.
I'm sure I'm
And so we're
super
like,
excited.
whoa.
Yeah, just live up to
We want to
your
have
window
safety and
and-
security, we want to have, you know, around certain portions of it that we have to do. But we're not gonna do, we can't do all of it.
Okay, anything else I whispered? Cut it
So
out,
we're trying to see if we can get it out of the Harrison Heights, and we can just do what minimally is required for the road. Right? We need to select a parcel that's in the Harrison Heights sub-area plan
Okay.
for like a development stuff. Okay, thanks, Joe. Okay.
There you go. But answer questions. Give them in.
Joe,
I can only imagine that's frustrating to
Joe, easy.
have the public like
what?
details and you're like, I've been working on this for 3 years. So which details in my brain would you like to write down?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But at the same time, like people want to know.
Son knows it all.
That's
Oh, yeah.
things missing. And then it's from my side, it's frustrating because I watch all the city council meetings. I watch those things. I've heard yours. Joe showed us the plans almost a year ago today. And so it's like I'm doing my best to like slow down. It's really hard to know like what's going on.
And then add to confusion, we're doing our development here.
Yeah, no, I love that.
On top of it all. And so some people are like, wait a minute, which one are you talking
I'm glad that
about?
that's safe and done.
Oh, thank
And
God, yes.
we don't have to worry about that. That's great. What,
November.
This
We
year.
should be breaking ground November.
You're gonna have a ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
We want to.
Oh, yeah. Charleston Business District will be all there.
We have a potential new renter in the Slippery Pig building.
All right. Nice, good.
Fits right in.
Awesome.
Center, community gathering place. So
Good.
More's coming.
I love it. I love it. No, that you, yeah, definitely. You all know about that.
I don't know.
All right. Michelle. Hey, Anton. Good to see you.
Yep, good to see you as well.
Uh,
Thank you for, yes.
Look at the eyes.
Thanks for speaking up. We appreciated many of the things you said.
Okay. We have to go like this. Yeah, I get ready to. Yeah, you're like, go. Yeah, I'm like, oh boy. We're gonna get it. We will. We're not giving up. We've resolved not to give up. So
We wanted to say.
yeah. 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 All right, Tony.
I did bring more of those, I'll get you another copy of that.
Yeah, I want to know. What's that? Oh, it was good. But she'll feed you, I'm sure.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Dion, thanks for coming over.
What a treat.